Hi, my name is Holly Swaldy, and today I'm going to teach you how to solve some AP English multiple choice questions. This passage, The Villain and the Rogue, is about the art of insulting someone, or rather, how to ridicule someone in a good-natured way. Let's examine the passage. First of all, the message itself is cleverly disguised within a maze of complex language. And to be honest, the first time I read it, I was completely lost and confused about what the author was talking about. But once I began to analyze the passage, sentence by sentence, the meaning began to slowly emerge, much like a fine work of art. Clever use of words can have many purposes, but in this case, the author describes the technique of writing to reveal another's flaws or ineptitudes. Okay, so let's take a look at the first question. It says, in the first two sentences of the passage, the speaker draws a distinction between A. Obvious invective and indirect satire, B. Esoteric knowledge and common understanding, C. Coarse speaking and inferior painting, D. Speaking writing, and E. Wit and humor. Okay, so first let's locate the first two sentences of the passage. I have a little bit of writing on here already, but it says, the first sentence is, how easy it is to call rogue and villain and that wittily. Which is basically saying that it's easy to flat out say someone is wrong or bad. And then the second sentence goes to say, but how hard to make a man appear a fool, a blockhead, or a knave without using any of these opprobrious terms. Which is saying that it's difficult, but it's difficult to rip someone up in a way that is subtle, indirect, or discreet. So, first sentence, it's just, to make little notes, I would say that the first sentence is very blunt, and words that we said here was, it was subtle, maybe indirect. Okay, so there we go. Now, let's take a look at the answer choices again. And right off the bat, we can eliminate answer choices E, D, and B, because those are just obviously wrong. Now we're between A and C. And the average Joe, might I say, would pick answer choice C, coarse speaking and inferior painting, because this answer seems like it could be right. You know, because we're saying up here how easy it is to call rogue, and I mean it's kind of rough, I suppose, and then inferior painting in the second sentence, it's just, you know, it's a little fancy, like I don't know, but that just seems like it could be correct. But you have to be careful with this, because this answer choice sounds much better, and it's exactly what we said. Obvious invective, you know, up here we said blunt, obvious, synonyms, and then indirect satire. That's exactly what sentence 2 is. It's subtle, indirect satire. So the correct answer is going to be A. This is the winner. Alright, so we got that one. And now the next question is number 46. And let's put this up there. It says, in the sentence, to spare the grossness of the names and to do the thing yet more severely is to draw a full face and make the nose and cheeks stand out, and yet not to employ any depth of shadowing. The speaker must make use of A. understatement, B. hyperbole, C. syllogism, and D. an allegory, or E. an analogy. Well, in this sentence, the author is making a comparison, and he's comparing a person's character or actions or behavior to their physical appearance, because he says face and nose, cheeks stand out, so physical appearance. And if anything, we know it's not an understatement, we know it's not a syllogism, we know it's not an allegory, definitely not an allegory, so we're kind of between these two. But key word, like what I said, you notice he's making a comparison, and that's what an analogy is. It's a comparison, basically. So we can go ahead and say the best answer choice is E for number 46. Okay, so on to the next, number 47. in line 8, so let's go to line 8. Starting with, okay, so yeah, it says in line 8, that noble trade refers to which of the following? Which of the following? A, to call rogue and villain. B, to employ any depth of shadowing. C, the scholar. D, fineness of raillery. And E, the occasion of an offense. Okay, so basically that noble trade is what he's talking about in the whole passage, and what he's talking about in the entire passage is insulting someone in an artful way. So which of these answer choices means that? Well, you need to know what the words in the answer choices mean. And I'll go ahead and say, hold on one second. I'll go ahead and say that, well, one second, pause. Okay, sorry about that. I had looked up the definition of raillery before this, and it means good-humored ridicule or banter. Okay, so knowing that, the definition of raillery, we can pretty much narrow it down to answer choice D. Because, like I said, it's all about being all crafty and insulting someone in a way that's not blunt and obvious, you know? It's a way of revealing the flaws, and a way of revealing someone's flaws in a way that's undertoned and intellectual, and it makes it not sound bad. So it's an art for itself. So there we go. There's that. Now, number 48. So lines 10 and 11. The sentence, neither is it true that this fineness of raillery is offensive, does which of the following? So, we can, okay, so basically it's saying that, sorry, I made little notes. What number is this, 48? Okay, so, okay, so the sentence is saying, here, let me let you look at the sentence. It's right here. It's saying that it's not true that ripping someone apart nicely is offensive. Okay, so with that in mind, I mean, in other words, it's saying one may think it is offensive to insult someone in this manner, and with that in mind, and if you look at the answer choices, undercuts a point made previously, and contradicts it. No, it's not contradicting. And it's Okay, so we're now between C and D. Answers a possible objective, and D offers an opposing point of view. Okay, so, well, it's, I can see why some people might think D's right, but, it does answer a possible objection, because the sentence objectifies an assumption. So, the answer choice is C. And it does offer an opposing point of view, but he already says an opposing point. Like, he says that it's easy to, it's obviously going to be C. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going on to the next. And it says, the contrast drawn between the witty man and the fool, lines 11 and 13, emphasize the witty man's what? Okay, so let's go to line 11 through 13 just to take a little peek. And it says, the contrast would be, A witty man, here I'm talking about right there. A witty man is tickled while he is hurt in this manner, and a fool feels it not. Okay. Basically, it's saying that a witty man, like, he gets what's going on, and he appreciates the way he's being insulted in this artful way that's kind of revealing it subtly, trying to be more intellectual. So that's kind of what the witty man's feeling like. And the fool, it says, a fool feels it not. So it just goes right over the fool's head. Like, the fool doesn't know what's going on, and he's just like, So it doesn't even insult him because he's so naive about it, I suppose. Okay, so now that we have that in mind, let's look at the answer choices. Self-confidence and a fool's lack of no, I don't think so. And because remember I said appreciation when we were reading it, so that could be it. Justified anger, there's no anger in there. Sense of humor and fool's resentment. Okay, sense of humor maybe, but fool's resentment, no. No resenting. Ability to retaliate and a fool's lack of wit. No, that's not going to be it. So we narrowed it down to B. Yes, and this totally makes sense because the witty man, he appreciates it, while the fool, like I said, he doesn't comprehend. It goes right over his head. So the answer choice here would be B. Okay, 52. In the context of the passage, the author probably intends the reader to find the words of Jack Ketch's wife, A, sobering, B, deceptive, C, horrifying, D, humorous, and E, compassionate. Okay, so first let's find where he talks about the words of Jack Ketch's wife. And that's towards the end. It says, it's right here, I'm talking about right there. It says, a man may be capable, as Jack Ketch's wife said of his servant, sorry, I'm reading it off the video, so it's kind of hard, of a plain piece of work, a bare hanging, but to make a male factor die sweetly, was only belonging to her husband. So, and those are the words of Jack Ketch's wife, and, I mean, die sweetly, that's such an oxymoron. It's kind of like the whole thing, insult someone nicely, like it's just kind of an oxymoron. Just, it goes along with the whole passage. So, when we're looking at the answer choices, sobering, no. Deceptive, there's nothing, I mean, it's the intended, the author does not intend for these words to be deceptive. The words of the wife are not intended to be deceptive. So, in context with the passage, that is not right. Horrifying, no. It's not, die, I mean, just because it says die doesn't mean horrifying. It's kind of a metaphor for insulting that. It's just kind of in context, so no. Compassionate, no, not really. So that leaves us with humorous. And that's what they're intended to be. Okay. Just because it says bear hanging, but to make a male die, it's just humorous. Wife talking. Okay, so this one, number 53. Oh, no. Oh, sorry, I forgot to jump back over here because questions jump. Okay, so 51. All right, it says. Okay, so lines 14 through 20. In this sentence, and we'll look at the sentence in a second, the author does which of the following? And then, okay, sorry, we accidentally skipped these. So let's locate the sentence. 14. Okay, so the sentence is right here till here. Okay, sorry. So it says, if it be granted that in effect this way does more mischief, then a man is secretly wounded, and though he may not be not sensible himself, yet the malicious world will find it out for him. Yet there is still a vast difference betwixt the slovenly butchering of a man and the fineness of a stroke that separates the head from the body and leaves it standing in its place. Okay, So, let's take a look.